evening, good afternoon, and good evening to you, Peg and Gaira. I have just seen your good evening, and thank you very much, guys, for joining us. It has been a minute, and we appreciate you for joining us at Get It Right with the Tara Solutions. This is the program where we try to get it right every Tuesday from 8 p.m. to 9 p.m. This we do this program, if you're tuning in for the first time, this is called Get It Right with the Tara Solution. And we do this every Tuesday from 8 p.m. to 9 p.m. We try to demystify issues in employment and entrepreneurship. And we do this in partnership with a number of organizations. We have Scallion Construction Company Limited. Scallion Construction are in the business of construction. We have Pathway Solutions. Pathway Solutions are the training. They have some very good programs on their LMS. LMS is Learning Management System. And if you're here, there are people in our forums have been winning free training. And of course, you also get to get 20% of your training cost when you train with Pathway Solutions. So if you're interested with a training that is at your comfort with your own hours, then you can let us know and we'll be able to hook you up with Pathway Solutions. You can get to check what is on their website and see what kind of training they offer, and then you are able to take advantage of that offer. We also have Vanessa Training Institute. Vanessa Training Institute is a woodworking shop. If you wish to study woodworking, if you want to become a carpenter, or you know somebody who is interested in becoming a carpenter, then you need to send them to Vanessa Training Institute. It's located on Mombasa Road. If you know Panessa Furniture, you know you can never go wrong with their training. We also have Wicklin. Wicklin is a carpet cleaning company. If you're looking to clean your carpet, they have a machine that cleans their carpet within 6 minutes. If you're looking to also clean your sofas, they come to your house and they clean it at the comfort of your home. And of course, they'll pick and drop your carpet, and they do 24 hours delivery. We have Suluhu Mediation Center for everyone in this call who wants to become a certified professional mediator. You need to register with Suluhu Mediation Center. They have a wonderful programs, especially their online certification. It takes only 1 week. They also have Saturday classes. They have classes that you can take physically, so you spoil for choice. You can check them on Facebook, on Instagram, or you can get in touch with us and we'll be able to link you up. And of course, we have Kapula Mintito. Kapula Mintito sell mapochopocho ya pwani, or rather coastal snacks. They have cashew nuts, they have mabuyu, they have kashata and all that. You can check them out on their Facebook page as well, and also Instagram. We have Profiles International. Profiles International are the people. If you wish to become a Geno certified professional coach, you need to register with Profiles International. If you also want to know your personality, then you need to come to Profiles International, and they have this assessment at the rate of 6,500 for all our listeners. We have Steadfast Quality Solutions. Good evening, Bulunji. Habat Zake. Habat Zake is our partner from Kampala, Kenya. We thank you for your partnership. We thank you that you're able to share our flyers, and we thank you that you're working together in this one. We also have Essence Park. Essence Park are into health and safety. If you wish to have the teams trained in health and safety, but you're looking for people who conduct waste management, then Essence Park are your people. We have El Samia. El Samia is one of the most beautiful hotels in Naivasha. It is so beautiful. You just want to go there. If you're looking to write a book, by the way, in this August, we are hosting somebody who will teach us if you want to become a writer. Simon, our speaker today, has written about 5 books, but we'll be taught about that in the course of the month by somebody else. So if you wish to go for a vacation, a solo vacation, whatever vacation, or you just want to drive to Naivasha, or you're there for a conference and you're bored during the day, can visit them. They have a museum, they have a movie you can watch about Elsa, and of course there is a lot of tea there. And then we have Labor Planet. Labor Planet are into the human resource outsourcing. If you're on this call and you're looking to outsource your labor, then you can get in touch with the Labor Planet, or you link up with us and we'll be able to link you with them. So that is what we have in our partners, Kevin. No, we have a training coming up tomorrow. Don't be stuck with your management of leave. I know leave is something that has a lot of gray areas. So tomorrow afternoon, if you haven't registered, please take advantage. It's only 2,800. and you start from 2 p.m. to 5 p.m., you get to have one CPD point for their HRM members. And of course, you get to ask all your questions: adoption leave, maternity leave, compassionate leave, all those questions that you've been inboxing me. Tomorrow, we are bringing you an expert. So take advantage. Deadline for payment is at 10 a.m. tomorrow to allow us to get ready for the 2 o'clock session. And of course, I want to take this opportunity to invite you for the annual HRM conference. This is happening in Naivasha on October from 23rd to 27th. It is at Sawela Lodges in Naivasha. Please do not miss out. This is going to be fun. We have some awesome topic lined up for you. So take advantage. This is organized by IHRM, the 27th annual National HRM Conference. Please make sure that you join us. And of course, Kevin, thank you very much. And of course, allow me to welcome my team. Kevin, you can introduce yourself.
As always, my name is Kevin Adipo. I'm always co-hosting Grace during our Tuesday session, and I'm happy and looking forward to engage with you further. Back to you, Grace.
So thank you very much, Kevin. And of course, we have our sign language interpreter. Good evening, Catherine Sidandi. Thank you very much for making us inclusive. We are very grateful that Zoom nowadays allows us to actually have a window for sign language interpretation, which is now different from what we used to get. So we are really honored to have you, Catherine Sidandi. We don't take this for granted. Thank you so much. And thank you for allowing us to be inclusive. So if you know somebody who has a hearing impairment, please let them not miss out on this. It is worth their while. So yeah, allow us to allow them to come and learn as well. So yeah, like I said, my name is Grace Nsula. I'm a HR consultant and trainer with Atara Solutions. And of course, I host this program. It is called Get It Right with Atara Solutions, of course, with Kevin and Catherine Sidandi. And tonight, we are looking at leaders and stress. Oh my God, you know, I have been, okay, so first of all, I'm a leader in my own right. And we have my friend Ajal from Kampala. We have been having this conversation on who takes care of the caregivers. We are always dealing with things. There's always something to look forward to. Yes, Karen Jagiro, I'm rapping. Okay. You know, I was a radio presenter at some point, so forgive me for that. Right. And so tonight we're looking at leaders and stress. And we're looking at how do you stay grounded on such trying times, on the times that you do not know what to do. Kevin, I was speaking to, I mean, not Kevin, Simon Mbevi. I was speaking to a friend of mine the other day, and he was like, how do you actually make some of these things without hurting people? Or, and then somebody, we just onboarded a new client, and she was like, you know what, Grace, I really want my life back. I want my life back. I just can't deal with this stress anymore. I am tired. I just want to enjoy all the money I'm working for, and I just want systems in my place to work and all these things. So this is something that is pretty common, and I'm really excited that this is brought to us by Simon Mbevi. Simon Mbevi is the executive director at Transform Nations. If you've ever seen a book called Dad Destiny, if you've ever heard of a program called Money Enough, then you are meeting none other than the author and the brains behind those programs that you see, mothers to boys, boys to men. All those programs are brains of the gentleman we are hosting today. So we are honored to be hosting a celebrity. And of course, he's my friend. Yeah, you know, I shared that flyer yesterday and I was like, thank God it's Simon. The comments I was getting, oh my God, yeah. So I'm really glad in the gap for men, and I'm looking forward to this session. So Simon, please take it away. Tell us, how do we stay grounded as leaders? And by the way, we have a lot of HR professionals amongst other professionals here. And you know, HR, whether you're an HR assistant or you're HR officer or HR manager, it comes with leadership. There is no way you're not in leadership. Like, yeah, you're both stepped out on one day, you're the HR officer, you have to take position. But of course, we have other professionals. We have marketers and all the other professionals. So tell us. And of course, oh yeah, we have business leaders. So please make sure you also speak to the business leaders. Right. Take it away, Simon.
Well, thank you very much. Good evening, everyone, or whatever time of the day that that may be to you. Thank you for calling me a celeb. I will use that sometimes. But really excited to be here. I'm grateful for what Atara has been doing and continue to do in helping, especially HR and others, to continue to do what they do really well. So I'm really excited to be here. I know we don't have very much time, so I'll just jump into it. But before I even have the conversations, I'd like to hear your views. Why do you think leaders are more stressed than the rest of the people? Why do you think leaders, all research shows that leaders have higher levels of stress than the rest of the people? Why do you think it's so? Why do you get more stress than some of the people in your team that you lead or you're part of? I'd like to hear some of you, just what you would say on the chat before I begin to share. And just to say, I am excited. You talked about writing, and I think writing is a good thing. I've enjoyed writing, and so I'm glad you'll be doing something about that later in the month. I've actually written 13 books and 15, and my hope is to have written 50 by the time I'm 60. So I'm working hard.
If you allow, Mr. Mbevi, allow me to interject. We already have feedback streaming in.
Yes.
Chris, because they pretend to know it all. Again, Jacinta, everyone is looking up to them. Anthony, because of more responsibilities. And then Paul Ngugi, because of decision making. Martha, a number of decisions a leader is supposed to make. They are dependent on for direction. You're expected to give solutions. Fear of failure. They carry the burden of many because they have a lot of responsibilities and so on, because of the scope of responsibility they handle, because they look after everyone and forget themselves. Mercy, people expect much from them. The buck stops with them, everyone looking upon them, doing it right. Yes. And they keep on coming. Back to you, Simon.
Well, thank you very much. And it's true, as leaders, people look up to us, and so we feel the pressure. We feel the pressure. So let me just go through a few slides to help us with the conversation. And then we'll come back to the chats. And as we go through the slides, please feel free to say on the chat what you think about some of the points or whatever it is that you feel, hey, I connect so well with that. I'm really excited. I think you've been told we do Transform Nations. So are some of the programs we do. We do Man Enough. Now we have had over 40,000 men who have gone through that. We do something on parenting, intentional moms and dads. We do 412 boys. Now, that's a big one. Just do a lot of programs, especially during this holiday, to mentor the boys. And we do a lot of corporate wellness trainings as well. So really excited that we could have this conversation, and we have answered that question. But I think we all know that we need all-rounded wellness because our health determines our productivity. As leaders, if we allow too high levels of stress, then it's going to affect the way we produce and the way we lead, and that's going to affect the team, is going to affect a lot. And we're talking about our minds, our body, our souls, our spirit, being super well so that we can be, of course, not really super. You always have some burdens you're carrying, but being well enough for you to keep doing what you need to be doing. This is really part of the conversation on mental health, which includes emotional, psychological, and social well-being, touching on feelings, attitude, and thoughts. All of those. And stress has a way of affecting all of that in terms of mental health. So really stress is a major player when it comes to this now well-known topic on mental health that almost every organization is talking about. And of course, as you said, leaders tend to be more stressed than followers because the buck stops with you. So even when, you know, the rest of the followers are just waiting for you to pay salaries, and you're scratching your head, and there isn't much hair left for us men, just trying to wonder, what am I going to do? And the rest are just happy, you know, to receive their check and go. But for you, you have to think the business wasn't too well, revenue didn't come in as well. What am I going to do? But the rest of the people are just happy to receive a check. So the buck stops with you in a lot of responsibilities. And of course, the view from the top, you get to see things very differently from another person as a leader. Because of where you sit, you see a lot more. You see how all the parts just connect. And so when one part is not doing well, you can see how that is going to affect another. When the person who is working on that one part, all they can see is that part. So the view from the top exposes you to a lot more stress. And of course, the responsibilities, as all of you good people say, the targets, the pressure thereof, leading the team and dealing with discipline issues and things like that. But the beauty of East Africa is that we really don't have a lot of discipline issues. We are very great people. So I know, especially you HR people, you have a good time. We don't have a lot of HR issues. And then there's a competition, of course. Sometimes you look at your competition in quotes, and they're doing well, they have posted such good performance, and you're thinking, what are they doing that I'm not doing? And you just begin to get stressed and scratch your head. Kevin, you know, that happens a lot. Well, I was waiting to hear some reaction when I said East Africans, there are no HR issues, we're all good people. Well, it looks like you agree, so I'll leave it at that. When it comes to gender, men tend to be more vulnerable to mental health challenges than women, and especially stress. And we will look at something about that shortly. But when it comes to mental issues and health, you know, it shouldn't really attract shame or stigma just because as a leader, you feel like in a bad place in terms of stress. That should not make you feel like you don't want to talk to anyone, because exposing yourself will bring shame. I think we shouldn't get there. So stress. So stress management is really the key to mental health, as I've said, because we are dealing with everyday pressures. These are relational, they are financial, they're political, you know, just different kind of pressures that we are dealing with every day. And as some have defined, stress is a state of mental, emotional strain or tension. There's a strain, there's a tension because of the adverse or very demanding circumstances. So a lot of things are coming at you, either from home or from work, from finances, from politics and all of that. And if you're a man and you don't have money, you're thinking, I don't have the power to do nothing. If you're a lady and you don't have money, you're thinking, I don't have the security for tomorrow. And of course, all of that is bringing stress. And you know, your body just wants to either run or fight back. So fight or flight reaction really comes in when we are talking about stress. And of course, we have talked about the different stresses, whether it's family or relationships or work. Before I've asked people, which of these do you think are the highest, you know, levels, you know, they are the worst stresses. They really push us to the wall. And some people say family. Of course, depends on what is going on home and what you've done or your partner has done, or it could be relationships, or it could be work. Really depends. Laws, cultural pressures, and other environmental realities. I like the picture of that guy who is trying to handle some stress, and you could, you know, move from a place where you just relax. Things are okay. Of course, there's always a certain level of stress in life without which you can't live anyway. So you can't live without stress. There's good stress, which is just relax, but there are a few things pushing you. And then you get to a place where it's a little more, but you're coping. You're just okay. You're not dying. Nobody is die. It's okay. And then you get to a place where you're a little bit more stressed. We begin to see it on your face. We begin to see it on the way you are acting. You get you're a little irritable. And then it goes to another level and it's anxiety. And now it goes even to an extreme where it's panic attack. Now things are really, really bad. But, you know, I love talking about gender issues, so I had to bring this in. Men versus women. When it comes to ladies and stress, when they get stressed, they tend to nurture and reach out to others when confronted by stress. Kevin, once in a while, I have those, you know, stressful conversations with my good wife. And actually tomorrow is my anniversary. And then we go to work and we say, I hope when we meet in the evening, you know, we're going to be better. But we have differed. I go with some stress, she goes with some, and you know, unfortunately for me, when she gets to work, she calls several girlfriends and talks to them about it, and they laugh about it, and it's over. But for me, you know, I'm probably not going to call you, Kevin, and tell you what happens. I'm just going to put that on the side and get busy with work and go home later. She has talked with her friends. They have laughed about it. They've taken some, you know, some food together, and they're okay. So ladies tend to reach out for support and to talk through it. And that, of course, really lowers the anxiety and they find some solutions. Emotionally, they get to process. Men don't do that most of the time. They compartmentalize it, repress those feelings, look like they're okay when they're not. They go and watch some movies or hit some, you know, use a club to hit some ball or something like that, Kevin. Yeah? You're about to say something.
One for the road.
Yeah, one for the road. Yeah. They just do different things to try and get away from the stressor while women get to process it. So I guess that's why across the world, women tend to live longer than men. Part of it is the way we handle stress. But let me get down to how do we stay grounded as leaders? Coping strategies. Now, coping mechanisms are strategies that people use when things are stressful or when there's trauma, you know, just difficult situation to help themselves manage those painful and difficult emotions or situations so they can stay sober. Now, some of these coping styles would be problem focused. You say, all right, how do we deal with the problem this way or that way so that we cope? Or it may be emotion focused, where you say, I'm now feeling sad. How do I deal with the sadness? Or I'm feeling angry. How do I deal with the anger? You know, it could focus on the emotion, or it could be active, where you actually do something about it. You're facing it, you're working on it, or avoidant, where you just run away from it and you don't want to discuss it. You become the proverbial ostrich with its head in the sand. So it could be either of that. And of course, there are healthy and unhealthy coping mechanisms. The unhealthy ones, escape. And maybe, you know, one of the ways to share here is even to put on the chat, which is one of the unhealthy coping mechanisms. I think all of us will have one or another. One of it is to escape, isolate, focus on the TV or watch some movies or sleep, or just do a solo activity or just drive away. Sometimes I like to do that, but I really don't want to face the situation. I just want to escape from it, whatever that means. You know, this is when some people watch a series from 9 in the evening to 6 in the morning. And it's just, I don't want to focus on this. Others, of course, unhealthy. Yeah, Kevin, that sounds like you.
Somebody is saying here they eat a lot. Okay,
Yeah.
a lot I've just added, but they eat.
Yeah. Okay.
Carol, lots of sugar.
Yeah.
Others, okay, I wanted actually to mention that others tend to work a lot during, yes, which is unhealthy.
They become workaholics just to stay away from these stressful things. And of course, some other people will go to the club and hang out there and just wait until everyone is asleep and then go back home and just slip into their beds. You know, escape. Then there's unhealthy self-soothing, just doing something like eating or just too much drinking or use of the internet or casual sex or something that just suits you and makes you feel like it's okay, when actually it's not okay because the thing has not been faced. And then trying to be numb so that you feel nothing. And some people tend to do that, especially when you lose a relative or something like that, really tragic. Some just want to go numb. It could be with food or drugs or something else. Just I don't want to feel nothing. This stress is too much. I just want to be in a state where I feel nothing. Then there's compassion or risk-taking. The other day I met someone here in Nairobi. Those of you from our countries, we have this expressway where you can really drive crazy because cops are rarely there. And someone just drove past me. I was at 120, and someone just drove past me and disappeared. I thought, what? That guy either wants to die or things are thick for them. Things are really hard and they're just doing something that kicks in the adrenaline and they just feel like they forget whatever is going on. And some go, unfortunately, to self-harm, like cutting their wrist or banging their head or hitting the wall or whatever it is, but harming themselves. That's unhealthy. Whatever you're going through in your leadership position, if you find yourself doing this, then you need help. You need to find someone to help you out so that you don't get too far. But here are the healthy coping mechanisms now, pretty first here. One is support, reaching out for support. Men don't like to do that a lot because we feel like it's weak. It's weak to go to someone else and tell them to support me. Leaders don't like to do that a lot because how am I going to look for help when I'm in the corner office? How is that going to look if someone hears that I was seeing a therapist, a shrink or something? But of course, we all need to remember that we're human. We're human and we need to seek help to reach out to others. I'm a therapist, but sometimes I go to a therapist and say I need some help because even me, I need help. Relaxing, nature walks, drives, swimming. For me, swimming is not relaxing. It's too much work trying to float. But driving is relaxing. So I like just slow drives. I like nature walks, just something relaxing, whatever is relaxing for you. I like some movies because they make me relax. For some people, movies don't make them relax. Like my wife, it doesn't. So she gets so stressed. She's standing up, walking around, thinking, it's a movie. They're playing, they're acting, and she's crying. Well, what relaxes you? What is it that relaxes you and doesn't stress you when you're doing? And then sometimes it just takes solving the problem. Yeah, you're so stressed about, the money that goes to staff, and sometimes you just need to be strong enough to reduce staff, like I had to do last year after COVID. I just realized I'm stressing too much, trying to bring in revenue to sustain so many people because I care for them. And I realized this is going to kill me. I've got to get to a place. I talked to the board. We said we just have to reduce the staff by quite a percentage. And sometimes you just need to solve the problem, and then a lot of stress is off your shoulders. And sometimes you just need some humor. And if you don't have enough, you just talk to Kevin and their team. They love to laugh a lot. But find a way of laughing at yourself and laughing at the situations and making light of situations. I like to watch some things on TV, like those crazy fails, some people falling and things happening. Well, nobody dies, that's why they show it, but it makes me laugh and really feel, it's never that serious. It helps me. Then there's fitness and rest, and I know a lot of us do that. Physical activity, good nutrition, enough rest is crucial. And yeah, I am trying to do a little bit more of that. So this is how we get grounded as leaders. We realize that we need, besides what we're doing, to find ways, to find support, relax, solve the problem, some humor, some fitness. All right, let me talk about the ABCD. If you don't do anything else, these are ABCDs that I have talked a lot about, and I think like they are just the backbone. Number one is attitude. Attitude is everything. Someone has said, Scott Hamilton has said, the only disability in life is a bad attitude. Bad attitude. And if you have a bad attitude, even God can't help you. Because you can't even seek help from him. You just have a negative attitude. Everything is crazy. Things are going to go bad. And I know some leaders, fellow leaders, my friends who are like that. And I try to avoid them by all means. It's just too stressful to be around them. They'll tell you how politics is not working, how the world economy is crashing. They just tell you all the negatives. And you leave there just feeling like, let's just die. But a good attitude is a great asset. You know, positive, optimistic, just seeing that there's going to be good out of this, there's lemonade out of the lemon. Attitude is a big deal. Someone has said the only good thing about attitude in life is that we all can choose it. It's a choice to have a good attitude. So I love that one. Just pick up a good attitude and see what is positive. Just begin to see what is positive. Another day, I was just a little depressed about the performance of some of my leaders in the team. And I was just feeling I'm going to fire everyone. I don't know that you ever go through that stressful time. I don't know what to do. You know, things are not just working. Of course, I snapped out of it and I said, all right, let me just go to the team right now and we celebrate what is happening here. We celebrate one another. So I called the team quickly of the managers. We sat down together. I said, guys, I just wanted to celebrate each other. Let's talk about what we like about one another. And we went on and talked and we enjoyed it. And by the end of the day, I was great. I was saying, this is a good team. This is a good team, you know, nobody needs to be fired. Sometimes attitude is really the deal, you know, the real deal, you know, your attitude. Number two is boldly face the stressors. What is stressing you? Just face it. Admit that there's something stressing you. It could be staff, it could be a difficult client, it could be relationships at home, it could be some stakeholder, whatever it is, just admit that and then be vulnerable to talk to someone else to help you or give you perspective, or a therapist or something. Seek help if you need it, whatever it is, and then take action. Boldly face what you need to face, whatever it is. Manage the time. Plan a way out, you know, but just face the thing that is causing stress. Don't just let it slide and continue to grow, to build this storm of stress against you. And let me tell you guys, I think that's where I struggle most. I feel like attitude, I tend to get it right most of the time. But sometimes I just want to go and sleep and imagine that thing is going to help, you know, sort itself tomorrow. I just don't like too much confrontation. I find like there's just too much effort. If your personality is like mine, then you feel me. If not, there's some people who just like too much confrontation. And so they're looking for an opportunity to confront. That becomes a stressor again. But whatever the case, face whatever it is that is stressing you and deal with it. And I hope you guys are putting something on the chat just to agree or disagree with me, or talk about what is it that you need to do out of the A, B, C, D. You can just write A or B or C or D. Now, C is community. Never walk alone. You guys who watch football, English football, whatever team you are a fan of, never walk alone. I know there's one team that says never walk alone. I'm not promoting it. It's not even my team, but whatever else you do, just don't walk alone as a leader. It's sort of bad. Isolation is the worst thing during stress. You need brothers, you need boys around you, some leaders that you get to talk to. I have 3 leaders that I admire, and every time I'm going through a very stressful leadership situation, besides one of the board members, I call them and just say, guys, I don't know what to do here. I'm in the dark. Just talk to me before I lose my head or my mind. And they talk to me, they buy me coffee, they do something, and I'm okay after that. Community is magic. Just having brothers or sisters that you hang out with, you talk about some things, you ask for direction. Community is just great. And lastly, depend on God. You know, I've come to realize faith gives perspective, especially when you're dealing with things that are just beyond logical explanation. You've lost a relative, a wife, a child, or something like that. You know, some things happen, and you just need a perspective from outside of this world. And that's why I say, whatever your faith, depend on God. Just use faith to get some perspectives. I was reading a study that was done in the US that was showing those who have some faith at work. It was a leadership study. Those who believe in God, whatever kind of God that they believe in, now they're 15% less likely to be heavily stressed. It actually reduces stress just to know that you can look up to God, to other than you, and find some help. So really, we are saying maintain a good attitude, have the courage to be vulnerable, whether you're the CEO or the HR director, whatever you are, just find in yourself the courage to be vulnerable, to realize where you are at and realize you need help. Lean on your brothers and sisters, community, and seek outside help. I want to finish by just referring to this prayer that I know all of you have found it on the internet. Huge prayer that has been there for years, and says, God, just grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change. There's some things in this life that need not stress you because you can't do nothing about it. It's just what is there. It's what it is. Don't stress about those. It's just not wise to stress about those. So he says, God, grant me the serenity to accept those things I cannot change, but also the courage to change the things I can, and there are quite a number. Just change what you can, deal with what you can. Sometimes it means changing the job, or changing the organization, or changing the troublesome worker, whatever it means. That, you know, you need the courage to change what you can. Sometimes it means changing you. You're the issue, and it just needs to change you. You change you. So the courage to change the things you can, and then the wisdom to know the difference, so that you don't stress yourself to baldness or stress yourself to the hospital. So the courage to change the things you can, and the wisdom to know the difference. I love this prayer. I think it's a prayer every leader should pray every week. Problems are not the problem. Coping is the problem. Coping is a problem. And we have talked about ways to cope, and I hope that helps you. So really, I don't want to take too long so that we have a bit of discussion. Kevin, I would love for us just to hear what the others are saying. But before I go, let me ask you, what is the one takeout from today's conversation? What is the one thing that you say, that one I'm going to do, and I think I'm going to be at a better place when it comes to stress issues. I think it's going to keep me away from snapping at someone or thinking thoughts that are not very legal. So just let me know. Let me know on the chat what your takeout is, and just say, as you were taught from the beginning, I've written a few books in case you'd like to get one. You can reach me, like that one on fatherhood, a great one. There's one on motherhood here. You know, the lessons I've learned from my mother, 10 lessons. This was to celebrate my mom, who is now 87. And a few other books. You can find them online that I've written. And really grateful that I hope that all of us can work on ourselves, reduce our stress, so that we will be more pleasant leaders to those who look up to us, because we don't have crazy levels of stress. Kevin.
Thank you so much, Mr. Simon. And it's actually quite good that you asked the key takeaways from today's session. As I speak, there is a number already here. We have someone, Judy, problems or other problem are not problems, coping is a problem. So do, from Peter Carrare, do what you can and what you can't earn. Okay, I didn't clearly understand that, but Mary Kamaara, change begins with me. And then I need to boldly, from Pete Pamela, I need to boldly face the stressors moving forward. And then Richard, humor and a great attitude, adjusting my attitude from Adidi. Chris, seek help, seek help, seek help. And that actually, as others continue to stream in, or rather as others are continuing to type, that would actually lead me to my very, very first question. Because we've been talking about leadership and leaders and stress. And as you've just clearly mentioned, most of the leaders are very stressed. Yes, they're very stressed. Yes, others seek help, others don't. But the key, the bottom line is they're all stressed. How can leaders effectively manage stress in high pressure? Sorry, because of my where I come from, high pressure situations. How can leaders effectively manage stress in high pressure situations? Because we do understand that there are those situations that we really don't have control over. So how can we just as leaders manage that? Mr. Simon.
All right, I think that's a very good question. A very good question. Sometimes things are just coming at you at high speed, and as a leader, you can't run out of the kitchen because you're the leader there. As other people run away. I think two things. Number one is don't carry it all alone. So when things are really stressful, let me give you an example. Another time we had a crisis in the office, and I was trying to wonder, how do I deal with this? And it's such a crisis that I need to make a decision right away. And everything was upon my shoulders. I think what saved me on that day was to call three of the most trusted leaders and then tell them, this is what I need to do right now. What do you guys do? And I just sought their wisdom in like 5 minutes and asked them, what is your feeling? What's your gut feeling? And they talked to me, and those 5 minutes of conversation saved the day that day. Instead of just when you're in that high pressure situation, carrying it all by yourself, sometimes the best help you need is around you. But the second thing I would say is emotional fortitude. Emotional fortitude. And I know there are a lot of books that are written about how to develop an emotional fortitude, the kind of fortitude that doesn't panic when things are really bad. And if you Google that, you will find many ways that you can build that. But really making sure you don't become an emotional wreck when things are really difficult. And if you realize, you have some challenges around managing your emotions and being strong around when things get really tough, then there are exercises you can do to build yourself to such a degree that you have emotional fortitude. You're not breaking down and having a nervous breakdown when things are really going badly. So I think for sake of time, I would say just those two things. Depend on your team. You'll be surprised how much wisdom resides around you, and develop emotional fortitude.
Awesome, awesome. I agree with you. And yes, there's also another add-on from Edwin, who is saying, have accountability or accountable friends, both young, same age, and older ones, still on the same note. We speak about leaders and stress and how they can manage it. How can we as leaders create a positive and a stress-free work environment for both our teams and ourselves. Because if we are able to manage the work environment where we are, because most of us spend more than 8 hours at their workstation. So if we can be able to manage that, that would mean the stress levels would go down. So how can we do it both to our team members and to ourselves? Back to you, Simon.
Excellent. I think that's a very good question, and we could do an entire webinar around it. But having happy, healthy environment is really crucial to dealing with stress issues. Now, I would say two things here. Of course, there are very many factors that lead to the health of a team and an environment, but two of them are crucial. Number one, having the crucial conversations. There's a book I read some while ago, written by 3 authors, the title is Crucial Conversations. And I read that book. I was a young leader. I was going through some difficulties. I read that book and it saved me in many ways. In fact, I loved it so much, I created a training around it and went to train a lot of managers. And what I got from that book is every team is just one crucial conversations away from being a great team. Every good team or every team is only one crucial conversation away from being a great team. In other words, a lot of things, the elephant in the room, nobody's talking about it, it's stressing everyone, but nobody is bold enough to confront it, or everyone is very careful, you're walking on eggshells because you don't want to deal with it. So dealing with the stress issues at the workplace, whatever that may be, crucial conversations. But then to have those crucial conversations, you need to create an atmosphere where people can be vulnerable and talk about what is there. I think we talk about offices where the managers or leaders say, my door is always open, but nobody ever walks in. Because if you know what's good for you, you don't walk in there, even though they say the door is always open. It's one day to have a door open, it's another to have your heart open. Are you okay with feedback? Are you okay with organizing your team to be very frank with each other? There are times I ask my team, what do you think I don't do well? And I listen to them. And sometimes it's hard to listen to the people, just tell you what you do wrong and what you could change. But, swallow my pride, it's non-fattening. And I learn from the feedback and I become better. So I would recommend a book here called The 5 Dysfunctions of a Team by Patrick Lencioni. I think to me, it's also one of the best books I've ever read about teamwork and creating that vulnerability in a vulnerable environment where teams can really talk with each other. And instead of having stress because of one another in issues, they have a very vulnerable environment that deals with stress. So again, we could say more, but I would leave with those two.
Awesome. It's like today, most of our questions are they're revolving around the same. Anthony Okore is asking, considering that leaders fear making mistakes, how do you deal with this? And I believe it goes line in line with what Peter Carrari is asking. How do you confront a financial stressor that has already happened, say a business loss? So how do you manage loss? How do you manage dealing with fear? Or rather, how do you manage to deal with fear of making mistakes in your role as a leader? Back to you, Simon.
All right. I think in some of the games that they train people, the first training you're trained is how to fall well, because you're going to fall anyway. For example, if you're going to ride a bike, you just, the first lesson you should be taught is how to fall well, because you're going to fall as long as you're going to be on a bike. I think that should be the first lesson leaders are trained in, how to fail well, because The only people who don't fail are those who are dead and those who are yet to be born. The rest of us here have to deal with failure. And it's more to think about, how do I fail well? So coming to terms with the fact that we're human and failure is a fact of life. It's more how you fail and then what you do after you fail. I think that's what just giving yourself that permission to fail is really taking away the fear of failure. That you're going to fail, just don't fail in a way that crushes the entire organization. Fail in a way that you make a little loss and you move on. I was happy to hear of an organization that they allocate a certain amount of money to the leaders so that, to that degree, they can fail and lose that money. If it's a little bit more than that, then you are a bit careless. But they give you allowance to fail. So I would say just get used to the idea that you're going to fail, and just don't fail on purpose and don't fail too huge. Just give yourself permission to fail, but fail forward, fail well. I think that's important. How do you deal with loss and some other things that create make it very hard for us to lead well? Financial loss and other kinds of losses. I think I would put it around just all the crises and issues that come. Sometimes you face a huge financial loss. We did that. We faced a huge financial loss during COVID, the 2 years. We were trainers, training shut down. We had some facilities. It got really crazy. What do you do? Number one is admit, because if you deny, you're not going to deal with it, but admission, number one. And number two is look for ways for the wisdom to know what is the best way to handle this. How do I deal with this loss? Should I release something? Should I sell something? How do I handle it? I think that's more the question to ask. I'm already in the loss, but what do I do from here? How can I work on this loss to get something out of it? Asking those questions. And many times if you ask the right kind of people, they're going to help you know what to do with it, but when you know loss is not final, however bad it is, the people have lost themselves to bankruptcy several times, and eventually they come out, they learn enough lessons and build some of the most successful businesses. So I'm just saying, face it, this is a loss, and then you ask yourself, with wisdom from others as well, what do we do? What are the options? What do we do? Do we declare bankruptcy? Do we borrow? What do we do in the circumstance? What is a wise thing to do about this loss, so that I can move forward? But don't allow anything to be final. Failure is never final. It's only final when you embrace it as final. But it's always an opportunity to learn afresh. And yes, the book I was talking about is Patrick Lencioni. I saw someone was asking the 5 dysfunctions of a team, and crucial conversations by several writers. I don't remember their names, but if you Google it, you will find it. Yeah, back to you, Kevin.
Wow, thank you so much. And thank you, Victor, for helping us, or rather making sure or confirming to us that you are indeed on the call. You've talked about how to manage loss. You've talked about how to identify loss. But now, how do we make sure that we as leaders become resilient enough so that when this storm hits, and how can we identify that, okay, the storm is almost hitting, now you need to be ready for impact? Because definitely as leaders, yes, we are being told that we have to do risk management, risk assessment, and all that. But now as an individual, as a team, because you are leading a team, how do you make sure that your team is resilient enough to embrace the impact they're about to get? Simon.
Yeah, I think the beauty of being a leader, you stand a little taller above others to see some things from a distance. Of course, that's one of the reasons why you're a leader of a team, because you're able to see some things, and also you have resources and a position and a standpoint out of which you can see some things way before the team. And of course, there's a way to prepare the team. You know your team well, you know those who panic easily, you know what this is going to likely do to the team, especially those who may lose jobs or whatever may happen. And there's always preparing the team for change or for a situation like this. And there are different, writers who have written about that, just preparing a team. But the bottom line is, have conversations that prepare the team. They express their fears, you talk through those fears, you show confidence, you prepare scenarios, different scenarios. I think that's one of the things that is really growing, that I've learned from a few people, how to build different scenarios. When COVID hit, I was part of a group where we were building different scenarios. We were meeting every week as business leaders and building scenarios. And those scenarios really made us think. This was something that had never happened before, but we put together like 6 different scenarios, what might happen, how it may impact the country, politics, and how we may not really prepared us. And then we went and had those conversations with our teams. So just talking through what might happen, hoping for the best, but being prepared for the worst. So those conversations, if you keep quiet and the storm hits, and nobody was ready, then all of you could drown. So conversations to prepare. And I think for many of us who are HR practitioners, there's some exercises that you can do and trainings you can do with the staff to build resilience. I've done that for a few organizations, and that really helps. So we go through certain things, check how people look at laws and storms and difficulties, and then help to build resilience as well. Kevin, these are such nice conversations. I wish we had the day, man. I wish we had the day.
It's okay. We'll try as much as possible to effectively and efficiently utilize the minimum time that we have. Thank you so much for that feedback or answer. But there is this elephant in the room, and Antonio Correa has just addressed it. As leaders, how do you face a real situation when we are in a storm as an individual? How do we advise or mentor others because we are still in the same situation? Yes, and he seems not. He from that question, it's like there's something that he still wants to hear from you. Back to you, Simon.
Well, thank you. How do you mentor others when you are in the storm and you also need, encouragement and everything? I think number one is just modeling. People are looking up to you. If they see that you're as vulnerable as you're resilient, then they will be okay with behaving like you. Of course, if everyone sees you panic and you're the leader, then they feel like it's over. So modeling what you want others to do. Modeling. If you're optimistic and you're exuding optimism, a good attitude, then people will begin to pick that cue from you. So be a model, number one. Just be a model and let people look up to you. They say what you're saying is way loud. What you're doing is way louder than what you say. And so model, model those behaviors and attitudes that you want the rest to have. But then number two, teach or train or mentor out of both strengths and weaknesses. Sometimes it's okay to be, and we do that a lot in therapy, where if I really want you to be open, that I'll start by being open and telling you, by the way, I have a relationship that is not really doing well. And I'm struggling with it, but I know I'm going to make it. And then now you have the permission to share as well what it is that is your fear, because whoever is around you or mentoring you or leading you is leading both out of their strengths telling you, I'm confident about this, this is going well. But also there's this that is not doing very well. And there's a weakness here, but we're going to deal with it. We're going to deal with it. So mentoring out of both your strengths and your struggles. I think there's something so powerful about authentic leadership, that you're not pretending that everything is okay when it's not. And yet you're not causing panic. You're being real and saying, this is a reality of the situation, but we can make this together. We can do this together. We can pull out of this together. Even though this is a reality that some of us are going to lose some jobs. It's a reality. It's going to be difficult. But hey, life is such that changes happen and you're going to find another place and we're going to move on and we can't give up. We've got to keep fighting, yeah, I think you understand what I'm saying, Kevin. So I usually like to say 2 or 3 things. So I'll say 2. One is modeling the behaviors that you want them to pick. And that's one of the best way of mentorship. And secondly, is mentorship out of both your strengths and your struggles, because you are it's a real situation, so you can't pretend. You can say, even me, I'm not too sure what we're going to do, but guys, there's a way out. Let's talk through it. Let's get down and talk about different scenarios. We'll find a way out.
Insightful. Thank you so much, Mr. Mbevi, for that. Just as we are trying to understand leadership and stressful situation, in your own opinion and in your capacity as a leader, what is your take? Are there positions that are more prone to stress, positions or industries that are more prone to stress, or the other way around? What do you think?
Yeah, there are definitely some professions that will be a lot more stressful just because of what you've got to deal with. For example, being a politician, one thing can happen today and tomorrow you're not. You're not a leader anymore. It's just very volatile. That can be a difficult place. Sometimes the media can be very stressful because I've been involved in that. I'm just giving some examples. So some volatile industries where things can change in an hour. And you're out of business or something has really gone crazy wrong. So those kind of industries will be a lot more stressful than the more stable industries. Like I'm a lawyer by training, and I know law can be a bit more stable. Besides the arguments we make in court, we are really good friends with each other. So it's a lot more stable in terms of what's going to change. It takes many months to change a law. So I'm just giving examples, but truly some situation, and then some positions could be more stressful. Sometimes it's more stressful if you're deputizing a director than when you're the director, depending on the character and the stability of the leader that you're reporting to. The expectations of your position. Maybe you're a nature director and you've gotten into a place where there's such a toxic culture and you're expected to produce results in 3 months, or you're out of there. And your company is in the limelight. So there are many variables, but I guess you get the point. Yes, some jobs and some seasons tend to be way more stressful than others, and just roll with the punches.
Great. I believe to also our listeners that one has been grasped. Allow me just to remind all of us that this webinar is brought to us by Stallion Company, Pathway Solution, Panesa Training Institute, Wicklin, Suluhu Mediation Center, Kapula Mintito, Profile Internationals, Steadfast Quality Limited, Elsamere, Essen Park Limited, and Labor Planet. Back to you, Mr. Mbevi. Just one final question, because we don't seem to be having enough. As you mentioned, time is really, really not on our side. So we've just tried to capture as much as we could within the timeframes that we have. Last but not least, how can we identify, or rather, what are the signs of burnout? Because we spoke about burnout, and how can we as leaders maintain the work-life balance so that, again, it doesn't interfere with our families? Because we've been talking about leadership, we've been talking about how to manage the teams, but there is the other team on the side.
Yeah.
That is our families. How do we make sure that we have a clear guideline as leaders on work-life balance without interfering with either? Back to you.
Thank you very much. Yeah, burnout is a reality for leaders. There are a lot of leaders who get into burnout just because of carrying too much load and trying to solve every problem and trying to throw up too many balls. And one of the signs is when you find yourself, you're becoming irritable, you can't even take a time off. You don't want to wake up. Sometimes you sleep and you just feel like, why am I waking up? You're losing interest. You're always fatigued. There are many signs of burnout. But I think what to prevent the burnout is to make sure you have work-life balance, as you said. And again, that's always a good conversation to have in the workplace. And to have a work-life balance is prioritize. Prioritize what is important to you: home, friends, exercise, good sleep, good nutrition. Prioritize the big rocks and say, these are things I don't want to compromise on, the margins that you need to have. And as you prioritize, then of course you need to have time management, good time management, where you manage your time well, organize your time well, and make sure as you schedule that you've scheduled the important things that will make you relax. So all the things we were talking about, and of course, remember the ABCD, the ones that we talked about earlier. So work-life balance is an entire topic, but the two things I always talk about when I talk about work-life balance is prioritize. Realize that your relationships away from work are just as crucial, and you need time there. The way to finish, Kevin, is to say when COVID hit and the world was a scary place and there was danger on the streets, what happened? Go home. Work from home. If you have to get someone else sick, let it be in your home. That's, if you get sick, that's why they can comfort you, treat you, feed you. Home is crucial. That's what we learned out of COVID, beyond the other lessons, that relationships beyond work are also crucial. And so build those relationships, because when work goes bad or things are difficult and you have no relationships to fall back to and to cheer you on and encourage you, then you're in trouble. You're in real trouble. So work-life balance means keep it prioritized. Realize the priorities, allocate time to them, and don't allow yourself to overwork. Work will never end. We have a proverb in my tribe that is very interesting, and I think almost every tribe in Africa would have a proverb that the hyena doesn't eat work. Go to sleep, you'll find it there tomorrow. Or the dog doesn't eat your work. In other words, direct translator. In other words, work will always be there. So do what you've got to do. Finish when you need to finish. Go sleep. You'll be at a better place to work tomorrow when you're rested. Let's have balance, men. Stress could easily kill us, and suddenly we fall. We have to go to the hospital. Let's take care of ourselves, because without a good body that is functioning well, you don't have much else remaining to continue to work. But I just want to say I've enjoyed the conversation. Thank you, good people. In case you'd like for us to have conversations with your company, let us know, or any of the books. But let's continue to serve our people well. Let's make it worthwhile to come to work wherever we are.
So, Mr. Mbevi, as you prepare your parting shot, allow me just to allow me to give two opportunities to FM Mutuku. You can ask your question. Thereafter, Oesi Pote, is it? If I hope I've not butchered your names. Mutuku, kindly. Pote, you are ready? Go ahead. All right.
Hi, good evening.
Good evening to you.
And thank you so much. Thank you so much for the presentation. I'm not in East Africa, I'm in Southern Africa. So thank you so much. And yeah, it was very enlightening, and just to listen to insights from you. I think mine is just to appreciate the presentation, and I actually was laughing when you were asking about HR people in the East Africa don't have problems, and nobody seemed to. So I was like, wow, it must be great in East Africa that there are no challenges. But I'm not in the HR space. I'm actually in communication. So like working in a big institution with offices here in Malawi, in Kenya. I'm from Botswana, but I'm currently in Malawi. So thank you very much for the insights. It was for me to appreciate.
Thank you so much, Oesi Pote.
It's OS.
Oh, sorry. It's OS. Okay, all right. Thank you so much. Mutuku, I hope it was not by accident, or if it were by accident, allow me to give this opportunity to Mbevi to give us his final remarks. Mbevi.
All right, thank you very much, guys. That was a good conversation and good to hear from all of you. Yeah, and as I give that, let me just say, there are a few people asking the name of the book. So I said, Dad is Destiny, the difference a father makes. And then I said, there is a mother one, the power of a mother, the power of a mother. I think I gave my email address and my phone number in case you want to get more. Let me know, or just look Transform Nations on social media. Transform Nations, and let us hit us up. But this is how I end. 3 years. 3 years. One of the ways to survive and be in health, and cause our teams to be in health, is to make sure that we meet these 3 A's, which are really the three, in my opinion, most basic needs of psychological needs. Number one is affection, just having affection, love. Feeling like we support each other, we want each other's welfare, whether it's at home or at work. Love really means that you're committed to each other's welfare. When there is affection and that feeling that everyone wants me to succeed, lives become easy. Number two, so affection. Number two is acceptance, accepting each other for the unique people that we are, whether it's personality, gender, backgrounds, accepting each other in our diversities and celebrating that. When someone feels accepted for who they are in their uniqueness, there's something about it that reduces stress and encourages performance. So affection, acceptance, and lastly, affirmation. Affirmation. Affirmation does wonders. Nobody doesn't want affirmation. Just to be affirmed for who they are, for what they do, including the CEO. They love affirmation when they are celebrated for some of their strengths. So just using those 3 A's to build environments that make it happy for people to come to work, then we have done a lot, because we spend more time at work than we spend with our loved ones. So let's make work a good place to wake up to. Thank you, everyone. And again, I appreciate just being part of this. And thank you very much, Atara, for the opportunity.
Thank you so much, Pastor Mbevi, for creating time to join us and to educate and at least take us through leadership and the stresses and how to go through them. You had asked about a parting shot, or rather the key takeaways from today's learning session. What I learned is that as leaders, yes, we go through and we'll experience significant stress. But to cope with stress, we need to employ various strategies, as mentioned. There is, besides others, delegation, team management, and seeking support. Seeking support came out very strongly from both mentors and coaches, and at least maintaining a good and healthy work-life balance. Thank you. And just before we finalize on this Zoom call, allow me to once again appreciate our partners who make sure that at least we have these webinars every Tuesday. Okay, we have Stallion Construction Company. Sorry for that. We have Stallion Construction Company. We have Kapu Lamintito. We have Panessa Training Institute. We have Pathway Solution Services. We Clean, Profiles International, Suluhu Mediation Center, Steadfast Quality Solutions Limited, Essen Park Limited, Elsa Mayer, and Labor Planet. And those they are our partners who always make sure that we bring these sessions to us every Tuesday. Last but not least, please don't forget to attend or book tomorrow's training on leave management. As managers, as supervisors, as HR managers, as business owners, you need to keep yourself abreast on matters leave, so that again, you don't find yourself get up caught in the legal or in the corridors of the legal offices. It's going to be starting at 2 p.m. to 5 p.m. It's going to be on Zoom. Charges are only 2,800. The deadline, as mentioned, is going to be tomorrow at 10. Deadline for payment, that is. For these and other more, kindly join our or rather follow our Facebook page, Get It Right with Atara Solutions. Join our WhatsApp group, Get It Right with Atara Solutions. Jacinta has shared the link on the chat. Follow us on YouTube, Get It Right with Atara Solutions, and also follow us on Instagram at Get It Right. Simon, might there be anything we are leaving from your side? It's always an honor to hear from you.
Just to say thank you very much. I appreciate. I think there are a few people who are asking for the presentation. We will see how to get it to you, and they can get it as well. Also, if you send me an email, we can forward that to you as well. But thank you, everyone, and good night, especially the ones from Southern Africa.
Thank you all, and have a lovely, lovely evening, afternoon, morning from wherever you are. Thank you, Sibandi. How could you have forgotten about you? Sorry. All right.